Hey guys, welcome to Gods Unchained with TheProfesserf and FakeMews. We're back here with Musings on a Friday edition. How are you doing, FakeMews?
Hey, I'm doing all right. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good as well. It's Friday, can't complain. Um, you got any big plans for this weekend?
No, I mean I'll do weekend ranked, do the flex wheel, not go outside. We're talking getting into the 90s with high humidity here in Alabama. So this is definitely the summer is here and it's gonna be staying for a long time. Not
Uh,
looking forward to that.
Speaking of going outside, you mentioned last time that you were going out last Sunday morning for a Pokemon event. Did that happen and how did it go?
Yeah, I did go outside, but nobody else did, so I didn't get any Mewtwo's. It was kind of disappointing. I did walk
Uh,
around the little water walk here in downtown Huntsville, Alabama, and that's kind of cool. I don't go downtown much. Of course, our downtown is very tiny compared to just about anyone else, but it was nice to go down there. It's not an area I normally go to. It's not super convenient from where I live.
yeah, I was about to ask without, revealing your address or anything. Was the downtown something that's within walking distance, or did you have to drive to downtown?
Oh no, no, no. It's a good 20-minute drive.
Okay, okay. How
Oh
did the
yeah.
how did the new car hold
It's
up?
Oh yeah, the new cars it hasn't broken down yet. So far it's doing good. Despite what people would normally think about a Kia, it has is not broken down yet.
Okay, we're not sponsored by Kia, are we?
We're not sponsored by anyone last I checked.
Not yet, not yet. All right, let's go into our topic. So, weekend rank. You did a very interesting challenge last Friday. You did 18 different decks, and I was able to tune into most of it. Was there cheering you along, and it sounds like you had an amazing weekend ranked.
Yeah, got 15 wins, enough for top 10, tied for first. I'm
Definitely.
just going to say tied for first rather than the actual placement because Friday night weekend ranked tie breaks are not fair. So, if 15 wins tied for first really should have been first because you should really give the tie break to somebody who played 18 different decks. I feel like that's more impressive than getting 15 by jamming whatever the top meta deck is.
I agree. I think the right way to phrase it is by number of wins, and you did tie with 15 wins. Um, and you're right. I think yours was more challenging, but also I think whoever gets to first place first, like you did, you were the first one to get to 15 wins. Then I think that should have kept you at first. But yeah, currently we have an MMR tiebreak system, which benefits people that play later. So it is what it is. From your 18 decks, which one did you think was the most fun, and which one was the most competitive?
The most fun, I mean, it's difficult to say. I personally like combo lists, so I would say maybe the chosen one light, the coconuts. That's
Oh,
that's kind of fun because you get out the coconut and you're gonna get a 9 drop. There's a lot of variants, so it's not necessarily the most consistent deck out there, and it struggles against very fast aggro decks, but it can be fun to play.
for
And the best deck, I would say that this is probably like something like Control Zombies. Feels like the best in the meta right now, but it's not really fun to play.
yeah, control zombies. Definitely, I think the, for those that don't know, the coconut is the divine coronet, and it's a combo card where if you play it a couple of times, first time you play it, it gains health and shuffles into your deck. The second time, it reaches the prerequisite to be able to allow you, the player, to summon a 9 mana card. Um, what what card are you usually looking for when you play the divine coronet fake muse?
Depends on the matchup. I mean, if I'm able to get away with it, then Avatar of Magic is a really good one. But if you're facing a nature deck, sometimes if you just play a poly or something, they just can't deal with it.
Yeah.
And I mean, some matchups is in it's a delve, so it's kind of random. You don't always get your first pick, of course. Therial's Anvil's a good one because you're immediately putting out multiple minions, and your board just gets bigger every single turn. So those are kind of some of them I go for. Really depends on the matchup, though.
Right, right. You mentioned zombie control as the competitive or top deck. What would you suggest if someone was looking to counter that, even though it's not as prevalent in the meta as aggro war? But let's say someone just wanted to target that deck. What would you recommend?
Combo list in general, I mean, if you're very greedy, you can try either a Stormfield, Dralamar type of situation. That's kind of the harder counter. Bitter Endings, Death decks also would do very well against it. Basically, combo related stuff are probably the best things to do. You can also try to play control and just be greedier. But that's a very risky line to go with because then you just get rolled by literally everything else.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Speaking of everything else, we have our announced next balance patch, which could change other cards besides Ban of the Wolf, meaning core cards. But it's been promised that on June 6th, about 4 days from today, that they will be making the final changes to Ban of the Wolf. So I think in this one we're expecting Bitter Endings change or nerf, both.
Yes, I mean, there's going to be some sort of change to bitter endings. They hinted about that last patch. I don't like announcing necessarily a final balance patch. I think that they basically should be patching it until they get to a good spot and then just lock it rather than saying that this is it. Because you could hypothetically change some stuff around. I don't know if they're going to be buffing anything or if they're just nerfing stuff. But for instance, when they were doing balance patches for Light's Verdict, they just they made Blade of the White Plane a 3/3 and like, all right, we're done. We don't need to
Yeah.
do anything else more. Well, a lot of times you need to see how things play out a little bit more instead of rushing things, and I feel like they might be rushing this a tad bit. I would prefer before just locking everything, giving it slightly more time. But I'm not making the decisions here.
No, I think you bring up a very good point. It's not like there's a set immediately coming right out that will shake the meta up again. So I think I could see the merit in what you're saying, meaning giving changes time to play out and see how it pans out, right? Whether your guess of or not guess, whether your decision to buff or nerf something was actually the right decision. And I get think, especially with no set coming out right away, so there's no rush for that. But you're right, we don't make the decisions. We're just two dudes talking without a sponsor. All right, Council of Mortals. It got moved from this week to next week. I think it was due to one of the GU team members not being able to make it. But do you have any Council of Mortals agenda items lined up?
I think there was some talk of me maybe talking about the Sanctum.
Mm,
So that might be the next fake news rant.
okay.
So yeah, tune into the Council of Mortals if you want to hear me ranting about the Sanctum in the good old days of when the Sanctum was great. Make the Sanctum great again. That's what I'm gonna be running on politically. But we'll see. I don't even know if I have a speaking role in the next Council of Mortals. I'm basically not the most active person in the council. I'm just the loudest.
So are you saying your fellow council members try to mute you? Are they trying to cancel you?
No, no, they actually put in work and talk about things, and then I come in last minute, like I want to rant about something, and then they just slap their eye rolls.
Uh,
It is what it is.
so I know you're probably going to go into more details if you do get the soapbox to go off about the Sanctum. But what would I mean is the Sanctum? Are you just talking about like a scheduled refresh of Sanctum cards, or are you thinking about specific cards you want to go into the Sanctum?
Oh, it's more that I just want it to keep rotating. It's just a
Okay.
way to keep the meta fresh.
Yeah. Good point.
Because we used to actually have a sanctum that would change
Yep.
and not be constantly the same. So that was refreshing for me. Good old Juggernaut memes. I mean, we need some Juggernaut and some top tier mythic play, and we haven't had that in a long time.
Yeah. Remember when aggro used to run like a really short curve and then be able to pull a dragon of the first pillar? as like a
Yeah.
top end. Yeah, that was
Now, now anybody listening to this little whatever this is called YouTube podcast thingy, what people are listening now, they have no idea what Dragon of the First Pillar is.
yeah. They
Because it's
missed
not
out.
a card anyone actually puts in their decks. But it used to be a card that you could sometimes get from the Sanctum, and it can situationally be very useful.
Yep, yep. It would allow aggro a way to get past a big wall and just kind of seal the deal. All right. Well, we look forward to your Council of Mortals um, talk if you do get a speaking role. But I think overall, encourage the community to tune into the Council of Mortals and listen to the topics discussed there. Last thing I want to talk about was there was a tweet from Gods Unchained recapping the AMA about the roadmap. Just some things to talk about here. I guess one thing I wanted to talk about FakeMews was Eternal mode. It's going to be the primary reward driven mode, and other game modes will be for experiment, and there's going to be sealed mode. I'm not sure if Eternal mode means Eternal like all cards lasting forever, or if Eternal means it's card sets rotating in and out. Do you have any idea on that, or are we both just not following up on the news here?
So during the AMA, the implied verbiage was that they were going to have basically what would be equivalent in Hearthstone as wild,
Right.
or that's what eternal mode would be, basically.
All
So that you
sets.
could play everything, yeah, all sets in the main mode. And they're talking about having other modes just also available. So I think in other games, such as Magic and Hearthstone, the standard, more recent sets or the standard format is kind of what is very popular. So once stuff rotates out of standard, it usually loses a lot of value because it just doesn't have utility anymore.
Yes.
And I think GU is wanting to do the opposite, where they want the main mode to be the mode with all the cards involved, and then have some side modes where you can play with hypothetically just Mortal Judgment and Divine Order, for instance. Let's just say that you could make your own potentially other formats that has more of a limited card pool, but maybe that's going to be more either for casual or tournament situations or very very narrow uses rather than just the kind of standard mode that everyone's playing.
But doesn't that conflict with what they announced before with going back to the Trial of the Gods, which was the first expansion, where they had said that with Trial of the Gods and other future expansions, there was going to be a rotation.
Yeah, well there's
But
going to be rotations still. There's going to be other modes based on the
right,
rotations. I think it does sound a little bit conflicting when you put it that way, because they have talked about this being season one, and
yeah.
then assuming season two comes out, and then what does that mean for the stuff from season one? I think this is actually pretty much it's just all bunch of birds chirping, and nothing really makes sense at this point.
Yeah.
So we really don't know
What's going on?
what's going to happen until it actually happens, and I
Okay.
don't even think they know at the moment.
Yeah. No, fair enough. Yeah, I think that's the general sentiment with the roadmap, or the current version of the roadmaps that we've seen. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the new sets. So they're committing, or I guess this is as good as committing here, that they do continue to plan the mini sets, but also big sets, and they want to do two major sets per year, with supplemented by mini sets. What do you think about that?
Yeah, I would like that as someone who is currently sitting over a year in Mortal Judgment, and best case scenario, it looks like it's going to be a year and a half for Mortal Judgment. So I would definitely like having multiple sets a year along with the mini sets. I think that would be a good thing. Obviously, we're currently not operating at that rate.
Yeah, agreed. Anything else from the AMA you want to call out, or can we move on?
Nah, that was like a whole almost a week ago, and
Yeah.
I've already forgot. My brain doesn't remember things that long until you re brought them up.
Yeah. All right. No worries. No worries. All right. So that brings us to this weekend ranked. You did your 18 deck challenge. It's Friday at this recording time. So Friday night you'll be doing your weekend ranked as planned or scheduled. What are you thinking for your weekend ranked? Same format or you?
Actually, I'm moving my weekend rank to tomorrow morning.
Oh, okay.
So yeah, it's gonna be EU friendly Saturday, and I'm gonna be playing 18 decks again. I haven't decided which 18 decks I'm playing yet, but it's going to be mostly the same decks from last week with maybe a few changes on some of my weaker decks.
Okay.
So we're going to see if the European version of the whatever this is called.
18 deck challenge.
Basically, yeah, 18 deck challenge, sure. Basically, you could say I have a lot of decks, or you could say I have no decks, because I don't have a particular deck that I really love and confident in. So I'm kind of just sticking to gimmicks at the moment because at the moment there's not really a lot of motivation for me to try super hard and weekend ranked, and it was very fun last week.
Yeah.
Uh, Achieving a very good run, doing something very unique. It's really hard to do something incredibly unique right now in GU. So just finding a way to keep things interesting for me in kind of a downtime is what I'm really doing here.
Yeah, and I think while you were streaming, I was in your chat and we were talking about how you found a hack and a counter to deck snipers.
Oh yeah, that is it is funny because if you're looking on GU decks about my most recently played deck, you're actually gonna be getting the wrong deck because I'm literally switching decks after every single game. So it's kind of a funny way to counter people who are deck sniping the GU deck side of things. But of course, if you're stream sniping me, then that counters all.
Yeah,
So
well, that's a different story.
yeah, I can still get exposed.
Yeah, cool. Any Gods Unchained tournament events that you're aware of? I think you mentioned last time the X-Borg. Anything else, or is that it? It's been quiet with the Infinite Mana tournaments.
Yeah, there's rumors of some things brewing potentially, but nothing has been confirmed.
Okay.
Trying to line up sponsorships and all that stuff. But yeah, once we get official stuff, we will be announcing things. But at the moment, we have nothing confirmed.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough. Going back to weekend rank, I'm gonna be sticking with what I've been playing the last 10 days now. I put together a zombie aggro list. Pretty much typical zombie list with Necroceptor and Obelisk, but I added one top end card at 7 mana, the Hortuck. But it's pretty much a standard zombie list. It's just been working pretty well for me, so I'm just gonna stick with that. I'm not really for experimenting at this time, so I just want to get my games done and enjoy. So, quick question, FakeMews. You're moving your usual stream Friday to Saturday. What party are you going to tonight?
I don't have anything necessarily planned. It's more of a stamina management
Ah,
situation right now. I haven't been feeling very good, so I didn't really want to repeat what happened on Wednesday on my weekday stream where I just like, nah, I just didn't want to play.
yeah.
So I typically do better in the mornings,
Okay.
and that is why I am moving it. Also, it's just a weekend where I really don't have much planned at all, so just moving that to the morning doesn't really change much. I mean, after I'm done with work, I'll probably just be watching movies or something like that, something pretty low energy, low stress type of thing.
Yeah. Are you going to be tweeting it out the schedule change for those that might be anticipating a Friday night stream?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
it's it's, it's already on my Twitter.
Awesome. Awesome. All right, so it sounds like we have a Saturday morning EUR 18 decks challenge for weekend rank for fake news, and are you going to follow that up with Sunday morning Flux Wheel still?
Yeah, that's the plan.
All right, cool. Anything else, fake news?
Nothing else.
All right, yeah, that's all for me as well. Good luck to everyone doing their weekend rank. Try not to stress. Again, it's just Mortal Judgment packs, which are pennies on the dollar now, so don't get too sweaty and try to enjoy. All right, Fake News. Thanks for having me on. Appreciate it. Roll Tide.
All right, roll tide.